Yo, brother, it's time for us to start talking the real, man. We've been sugarcoating too much. We've got to start calling everything out for what it is.
Hi guys, it's range test time. It's time for the Commander GT Pro. And first, a huge shout out to Jason at E-Wheels for providing me this wheel for testing, having fun with it. If you're watching this, Jason, I appreciate your support over all the years. Of course, this is the same wheel we had the initial problem when I first took it out of the box, set it up, and brought it and over to Roger. We're going to do a ride with it, and it failed on us, and ultimately we determined that it was a phase wire, that cable that wasn't fully connected, and the way they had routed it in the wheel, it was impossible for that connector to stay on the post. Just with a few jumps, it would just wiggle itself off. So we fixed that. I will say this wheel was really was an early production, not a production, almost, I wouldn't say prototype, but pre-production for sure. I've since been given information. I've seen pictures. They're making improvements which will negate most of my complaints that I had when I was opening up the wheel. So I feel pretty confident that the wheel you would get if you were to buy one wouldn't have the problems I did. Now, one thing I can't say for sure is the cable management. I mean, that's gonna, I don't know. After this last experience, I do kind of feel like opening up all the new wheels and just looking at the cables and just not trusting their whoever's assembling their wheels. That's just unfortunately a fact. But anyway, the wheel is fully functioning now. I'm doing a range test. I do a lot of these, and I'm sure many of you have heard the same thing, but I'll repeat myself. I'm doing the same identical route I do in all my range tests. I get it, I'm monitoring my speed. Like right now I'm going a little too fast. I strive to get the same distance. Well, it's a range test, so the distance might not be the same, but the same speeds, and I'm usually pretty close. My average moving speed can be within half a mile per hour, which is pretty good over a 50 to 70 mile ride. Same conditions. I'm in Southern California. Pretty mellow temperatures right now. It's in the low 70s, probably 72, 73 degrees, I would say. No excessive winds or anything. My riding weight is about 201 pounds. I weighed myself with all my gear on my range tests. I'd say within plus or minus a couple pounds. My body weight doesn't fluctuate that much. Yeah, keep going faster than I want to go. So for these range tests, my modern range tests, I strive to go between 23 and 25 miles per hour wheel speed, and try not to hit the 25 number too much. I try and maintain an upper speed. Of course, usually there'll be some points in my ride which I'll exceed that, but you know, if I need to get out of the way of some cars or something. Let's see what's going on here. So this range test, the purpose of my range test is not to tell you what you're going to get on the wheel, because I have no idea how you ride, right? But I do these on all the wheels. So the real purpose is to provide you a relative number to say that, okay, this wheel gets comparable range of a Master, a Lynx, you know, whatever, right? Depending on the wheels I'm testing. Like when I did the Mini, the Commander Mini and the Master, they basically got the same range, right? So that's the purpose of my range test. And that's why I do it at these speeds. Obviously, so if you have experience with a wheel that I've done a range test with, but you ride at different speeds, then you can, you'll have something to compare against, something to judge what speeds you're going to get. Yeah, so I guess that's it for the range test. I will be stopping a few times on the ride, same usual spots. I'll give you the battery percentage. EUC World has just been updated. I've been giving information to SEBA, so it now supports this wheel and the ET Max. And I'll be doing the ET Max range test very soon also, so it'll be interesting to compare the two, see how they do. I guess that's it, so I'll get back to you in a little bit. I wanted to say that I have actually already kind of done this test. Not quite, but so I have a sense of what kind of mileage it's going to get because I started this test a handful of days ago, and when I got to the spot to do my first discussion in the video, I realized that I had forgotten to put the memory card in the camera. So then I just went and did my loop. And of course, since I wasn't going to do the range test, I rode it faster. So I think it was 46 miles, and I had 30% battery at the end of that. And I was riding a lot more aggressively compared to my range test. I think my top speed was like 29 GPS, and so I was definitely above 25 for most of the ride. For like what I'm doing right now, I would have been going well above 25. I was just, having a fun time. So based on that, I feel pretty confident I'm going to get some good mileage on that. So that'll affect actually when I get near the halfway point. I'm going to extend the ride a bit further towards the mountains, just so I can don't have to burn off as much battery at the very end in my neighborhood. Yeah, and when I stop, by the way, I'm going to also the wheel that's closest to this in terms of battery, of course, is the InMotion V13. So I'll give you a couple stats on that wheel compared to this as we go. And also I'm probably going to throw up the stats when I give you the battery percentages and so forth. I'll throw up on the display what I got on the Lynx too, because that's might be also the closest. So I keep going over. This wheel is very easy to go fast on. It's a lot of work to maintain 23 to 25 miles an hour. So yeah. Okay, the next stop will be the Monte Airport. See where we're at then. First stop, El Monte Airport. Let's see the numbers here. So about 18 miles into the ride, 159.9 volts, 80% battery. I should note that when I started this, I took it off the charger. I topped it off in the morning and then took it off the charger, and I noticed it was about 166.7 volts, I think. So I've been charging it with the Roger charger mostly, but sometimes, a couple times I've used the stock charger. So I got to check the stock charger, see if that's outputting the full voltage. I'm guessing maybe it's not. It's down maybe a volt, but I'm going with it. All right, I'm gonna take a little break here and then talk to you in a little bit. Hey, I wanted to talk. Actually, I'm going to close my chin guard and still have my mirror. It's all about my mirror for safety, particularly when I'm talking. I just want to talk a little bit about the ET Max versus the GT Pro, an obvious comparison to be made, right? They're both, you know, pretty much coming from the same company. Though I think they have different electronics. I'm not sure who makes the firmware for this versus, they're probably shared though, I imagine. Anyway, same battery. Motors are a little bit different. This has the master motor, C38. ET Max has a C38 with this tile magnets, which I'm not very familiar with, but apparently it's a higher torque motor. But you know, at the end of the day, given the price of these both wheels, I'd be hard pressed to recommend buying this one over the ET Max. In my opinion, the ET Max is just so much sexier looking. I do like the way it handles better. Yeah, I don't know. It's not like this would be a bad wheel for sure, but you know, the styling. But let me tell you what really excites me is the GT Pro Plus. I was given a little bit of heads up before about this wheel, but then Jason at eWheels spilled the beans like a week ago, I think, that basically the identical form factor, because the battery cases on this wheel are huge when you compare them to like the ET Max. Well, it turns out that they're partially empty. They're really designed form factor wise for bigger battery capacity, and that's what the Plus is. So it's basically the same wheel, same form factor. It's going to be heavier, of course, but same size, but a 4,400 watt-hour battery. And that excites me, because now we're talking about a wheel that a powerful wheel with the battery capacity approaching that of a Master Pro, but with a much more compact and better suspension. Yeah, this is it's a nice suspension. These hydraulic shocks are they're nice. If anyone who's ridden the hydraulic suspensions will agree with that statement. So we're talking about like a Master Pro type wheel. You know, not quite the range, but probably a pretty good range, with this really nice suspension, and the form factor of this wheel feels. Let's get through this intersection. This wheel feels much smaller, I guess, than the Master Pro. I mean, Master Pro, just it's a big wheel. It's a massive wheel. It's definitely something you got to get used to, and this just does not have that same uncomfortable factor. So that's a wheel that I'm really excited for, the GT Plus, the GT Pro Plus. And that is the wheel I think I will have. And eWheels will be providing me that wheel, an early version of that wheel to test. So I'm super excited for that. It's March right now, just in time for, well, it's summer all time. It's always summer in Southern California, but we do have, summer is a nice riding season. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be, I think that's just going to be a killer wheel. Okay, let's see, about the halfway mark, approximately, depending on how far I go, but about 28 miles and 67% battery, if the app is correct, 153.9 volts. I'll throw up the stats here for what the Lynx was at this spot, and the V13 if I have it. And of course in a future video there'll be the ET Max. So feels pretty good. I think I'm gonna do my, normally what I do is I keep going that way, south now, back home. So you could think of this as like an upside down U, this kind of loop I do, and I've gone this way, I've gone that way, and now normally I go like this back down home, but instead I'm going to go up towards the mountains, burn off a few miles, again, just so I don't have to do so much when I get closer to home. Okay, 48 miles into the ride, and about 40% battery, 142.1 votes. So yep, doing pretty good. I was at, like you said, that other ride I did the other day was 46 miles when I ended, and I had 30% battery. And I was riding faster, so just like I thought I'd get better mileage today. I have about, I'm not sure, can't remember, maybe 7-8 miles to get towards near home base. So I will be going farther, of course. I'm enjoying riding the wheel. If you could see me making the turns, you definitely have to muscle this wheel around. I really wonder what it would have felt like with the new tire. When I get the GT Pro Plus, I've been promised that's going to have a nice tire. Probably the same tire that's on the ET Max, which is really nice. But yeah, I'm enjoying, for what it is, I'm enjoying the wheel. It's very stable. I've been fighting a fair amount of wind the second half of this ride, and the wind just doesn't have much effect on me on this wheel. And you know, and this wheel, you know, I weighed it the other day, and trying to go by memory, the ET Max is 111 pounds, or wait, I'll put the numbers up here, but this wheel only weighs about 3 pounds more than the ET Max. So now there's another demo wheel out there, but it has a different different tire and slightly different motor, and it weighs I think it weighs less than the ET Max. So to me, it's in the noise. They're basically, both wheels are roughly the same weight, plus or minus a few pounds. But it looks heavy, it looks bigger. It is 1 inch wider than the ET Max. And I can't remember the height. Yeah, I can't remember that, but it's definitely wider. This tire would never fit in the ET Max. This is a massive tire. All right. Shortly I will continue on. So I'll, at this point, I'm just gonna get back to you a few more times. You know, probably as I get closer to 15% battery, and then when it starts beeping, I think I'll get back to you, low battery beeps. And then when I'm at tilt back. Hey, I just checked my notes, have some paper notes with me about the V13. It just so happened I had captured the battery percentage at the same mileage, 48 miles. That's where I'm at right now, and it had 14% battery at 48 miles. And I had, well, it's pumped up a little bit, but 40% basically. So again, and same battery. So it really does highlight how bad the battery performance was on the V13. The closest wheel we had at the time would have been like the OG Sherman. That had slightly more battery. So yeah, V13 was horrible. Anyway, that's all. Well, just started hearing the beeps. Roughly about 133 volts, 20% battery, I don't know, in that range. And I'm at 57 miles, I think. 57, 58 miles. And still riding at 22, 23 miles an hour. Interesting, on the Master 2400 watt-hour wheel, 57 miles, that was total tilt back and basically end of the ride. So of course I would expect to get better than that. And the V13 was at about 7% battery, if I remember, at 57 miles. And I was going much slower. All right, I will get back to you as I'm getting closer to the end. Well, it's time to wrap up this ride. I'm starting to get tilt back right about 124 volts, which is in line with the ET Max. Dawn had written that down to tilt back speed, and she told me it was 124 volts. So that's what I was anticipating for this wheel. Yeah, 139, whoop, tilting back. And I'll throw up the final stats, but it looks like by the time I get home, 65 miles. Certainly worse than the Lynx. Lynx, I got 67 miles. This has a bigger battery than the Lynx. Now, of course, I know the reason is that basically the Lynx with the low battery mode lets you go down to 2.9 volts per cell. This is 3.1 volts per cell. So basically it's kind of like what I'm in, over all the years, no matter what voltage the wheels are, high voltage, low voltage, the bottom line is it just always comes down to how big the battery is. It's not your range on a wheel is not based on voltage. I mean, some people say, oh, higher voltage wheels get worse mileage. It's just not true. What happens, for people aren't doing the kind of range tests I'm doing, they're riding faster, just like I kind of want to ride faster on this wheel, but you get worse range, of course, when you ride faster. But if you ride in the same conditions for all the years, it just comes down to battery capacity and what voltage does the wheel allow you to run the cell down to. For instance, my Master Pro, I can run that down to 2.9, I think it's 2.9 volts per cell. Most wheels, it's 3.1. Lynx, Veteran, they allow you to go down to 2.9, which I applaud them to give us that option. Now I'm going to put it into words because I really hope on this GT Pro Plus they gotta allow us to go down to 2.9 volts per cell with that huge battery capacity. Just makes sense. So about 65 miles, worse than the Lynx, but right in line with what I would expect given the battery and the voltage per cell. All right, guys, I'm tilting back more. Damn those dogs. All right, I will do the test for the DT Max, but I'm kind of expecting the same thing. I probably shouldn't even bother doing it really, because it's, you know, I just I do these all the time, and it's just, bottom line is, like, I think at this point I can predict what a wheel's going to get. All right, guys. I hope you found this video useful, and until next time, safe riding.